What's up, human design peeps? You know this tarot by Bronx, obviously. But been into the human design for some months now, and finally feeling ready to like start posting human design videos on my channel. Of course, I'm gonna continue to do tarot, but I do want to incorporate, how I incorporated astrology into the channel. Now I'm incorporating human design, so we're just kind of building on top of each other here. But I wanted to take a moment to talk to my reflectors because, reflectors don't get as much love as the other types because you guys are so rare. I don't know if like people just hadn't taken the time to like speak to you or like really understand you, and it kind of frustrates me when I'm trying to find information on you. So what I've been doing is I'm a 4-1 profile, and I've been using my one line a lot more to like ask questions and understand and talk to you behind the scenes. And I was doing this with manifestors the other day, but now I was doing it with reflectors yesterday. So I'm just really trying to understand from like a more personable perspective who you guys are, what you like to do, what your everyday life is like, what you think, stuff like that. And all of you have similar things that you're saying to me, and I'm just here to kind of translate what the reflector collective is reflecting. Okay, so this is the gift of, what did I write? What's the title of this video? The gift reflectors have that the other types don't in human design. All right, so obviously you are the most rare, but you are also the most conditioned because you have no definition in your chart, and that means you've picked up a lot of definition along the way based on how you were raised, who you've been around, parents, da. And so the gift that you have that the other types don't have is that you have the gift of literally sampling all the types. Hear me out. You have the gift of sampling all the aura types. You can wake up and be a different type every day. That means you can do whatever you want, okay? So, you don't have to wait for the invitation if you don't want to. You don't have to wait to initiate. You don't have to wait to respond. But you can also wake up and be feeling like a manifester. Like you're feeling like you wake up one day and your mood is like, man, I want to initiate something. You can do that. Like you don't have to be like, well, I need to wait or something like that. Or, you could wake up and be feeling like a projector, or you can understand what it's like to really be like a projector, especially if like you're around a generator. You can understand what it feels like to be a generator. Like you'll get a lot of energy. You'll feel good. You'll feel to have that magnetic aura going. Or if you're around a projector, or if you just wake up and feel like a projector energy where you just feel like guiding people, helping people understand from a higher perspective about what they need to do. Or, you're like showing off your skill sets in some way and people are like being attracted to that. Or if you feel like a manifesting generator and you're just wanting to do everything at the same time. So it's like, you're not in that category where you're in a fixed type, which is awesome. If I had an opportunity to be another type, I definitely would take it to see what it's like, but you guys do. You have that opportunity. Now, it may not always be when you want it. That's where the kind of spontaneous part comes in. It's just like whenever you feel the energy come towards you and you're like, okay, today I'm feeling more like embodying a manifestor's energy, taking the lead. I'm feeling more like informing people of what I'm doing. Whatever it is that your mood is telling you, you can do that, and it's not going to be fixed. So it's like if you don't feel like being like it, because sometimes like I'm a generator, I can't just decide I want to be a manifestor, or I can't just wake up one day, even if I'm feeling like initiating, I can't just do that. I still have to wait to respond. And so that is the gift that you guys have, and you might not have seen that as a gift before because you're like, I just want to know exactly what I'm supposed to do every day, but it's just not like that for y'all. You guys have the best routine for a reflector is no routine. You're supposed to wake up and feel the energy of the collective and feel the mood and decide how you want to be that day. You are conditioned to always be working, to always have a fixed routine, to know exactly what your routine is going to be. And that just will never, ever, ever work for you. You'll never be able to have that solid routine that everybody else seems to have, that structure that everybody else seems to have. Like the more undefined or open centers you have, the less of a routine you're likely to have. It's more based on your mood. It's more based on the energy you are absorbing around you. So that's why you see people that even if, no matter what your type is, there are generators with a lot of undefined or open centers, and they seem more like, you know, carefree. Like I have a friend who's also a generator, but only has like 2 or 3 defined centers, and she's a lot more fluid than me. Like I'm very like structure. I have like almost all defined in my chart. And she is also a generator and has a lot of energy, but she's a lot more spontaneous than me. So getting into the energy of knowing that the spontaneity increases as you are more open or undefined in your chart. And if you're all open, baby, you just are a spontaneous creature. You just should do things based on where the wind takes you. And that's why the reflectors like self theme is surprise, because if you allow yourself to get more into your own spontaneous energy and you accept that that is a part of your nature, is to be spontaneous, it's not to have a fixed or rigid consistent routine, you will always be surprised. You'll be like, oh my gosh, the world is so amazing. Like there's things that you would never you know, have known if you were in like this fixed routine. Because, you know, if a reflector, I'm still kind of getting to know you guys, but I can imagine it being like, you know, one day you just wake up and you feel called to drive across the world. You know, that's very spontaneous. And you do it and you experience all this surprise and this awe and this wonder, and you're like, OMG, like your mind just expands. And if you didn't really respond to that spontaneous energy that you carry and possess, if you were like, oh, that doesn't make sense, I'm not gonna do it, then you would never experience the surprise. You'll never experience that feeling of wow. You know, like life can be so amazing when you just allow yourself to just go with the flow. And that's what reflectors are here to teach us and here to really show us. So, you know, you're great at being spontaneous with your energy, your ideas, messages you want to share with the world based on what you received that day. So it is really cool when you reflect, when you tell people about your moods and tell people about energy you've picked up where you were at, it will tell people a lot about that environment. So, you know, if you're like, yeah, I went to this concert, or I went to this bookstore, or wherever you went, and you're like, the energy was really bad and really crazy there. And that will tell people a lot about what they need to know about that environment. And you know, reflector's mood, you're just absorbing everywhere you go. So if you feel really good about a place, that's a good sign. If you don't feel good about a place, that's not a good sign for anybody, you know, for them or for you. So you don't need to plan as much as you think you do. Let your energy guide you. It will always be different every day, and you are here to master the aura of variety, complete and utter variety. And, you know, I know it can be very hard to be like a reflector, kind of like the unicorn of society, where it's like everybody seems to be so sure of who they are, so self-assured of what they're doing. And, you know, I feel like it's one of those things where I heard somebody with autism say, like, there's something called masking that people who are neurodivergent or autistic do to fit in with society. But what I feel like is, you know, this is not like comparing a mental illness with, or like, you know, a disability with human design. But I'm just saying, in the context of they feel like they have to mask, and, you know, it does protect them in some ways, but it also can be harmful because it doesn't give everyone an opportunity to kind of normalize them. You know, it still ostracizes them if they feel like they have to hide certain things, that their behaviors. It really can be harmful, similar to if you're like this rare type and people are not familiar with you. If you try to blend in and be like everybody else, it's like it doesn't give people a chance to normalize you. It doesn't give people a chance to see you fully and understand, like, you're still a part of our society, like you're still here, you still should be understood. And so that's why I really want reflectors to do that deconditioning of trying to fit in, and trying to be accepted, or trying to, like, you know, be in a fixed way, because it really makes it hard for people like me that are trying to understand you and see you. if you're not showing us who you are, and like to normalize you and to be like, you know, reflector, yes, you're very rare, but you are still like a person. You're still a part of the society. Like, we still need you. We still need to understand and learn from you, and we want to learn from you. So I'm kind of here to really emphasize for reflectors to be who you are, whether that's like just somebody different every day. If you like feel like a lot of people every day, I don't want you to mask that or like try to hide that, because people like me are going to emphasize your voice. We're going to emphasize who you are, and we want people to understand you, because I know you guys are frustrated when you're like, I'm a reflector, but I don't have any information on me. Like, when I try to look it up, I don't know, like I can't find anything. And it could just be because reflectors are just so deeply conditioned, they don't even know who they really are outside of other people telling them who they are or like what they should be. And so that's why, like, I'm here to really talk about the deconditioning part. First and foremost really needs to happen so reflectors can accept their spontaneous energy, and we can really understand you and see you for who you are. And it'll be easier for everybody to understand, okay, this is what reflectors act like, this is who they really are, this is what they really do, instead of blending in, because you guys blend in really well because of who you're around. So spending that time deconditioning, understanding yourself. And that's why the strategy for a reflector is to wait a lunar cycle. Get really familiar with the lunar cycles, where the moon is at, what sign it's in, and waiting 28 days to see if certain decisions are actually yours or it's just based on energy you've picked up along the way. So give yourself time. Like, the planets move through all of your gates in about 28 days, similar, like, you know, astrology kind of merges there. But yes, once you guys do that deconditioning and you can really understand what your nature is, which is to be spontaneous, to go based on your mood, to not have that rigid structure, to not be fixated on having an identity or a fixed solid identity, to sample different energies, that will make it very easy for us to, like, people that are trying to study human design reflectors, to tell other people that this is what reflectors are like, actually, not what people have conditioned you guys to be. Okay, so I just wanted to make that very, very clear, that, you know, because I don't want there to be any confusion about, like, you know, when I was bringing the autism example, just the fact that autism, it is a lot more normalized than it used to be, but it's still kind of like rare. So just the fact that if we can normalize people with disabilities as a vital part of our society, and then we can normalize people, anybody who is seen as rare, as a normal part of our society, it will help us to understand them better and just really help them feel accepted. Because I can imagine, like, even with me, anxiety, OCD, I do still feel ostracized in some ways, and it makes it hard to really show and express, you know, the ways in which it can be debilitating. So if we just all as a society accept, you know, the rarities of people, I think it would just help in general. So yeah, reflectors are similar to Aquarius in the ways where you're innovative, you're unconventional, and you are ahead of society. You are always reflecting what's going on in society, based on like what you've seen, what you've consumed, right? So you can see where you're supposed to be, what's not working, and sharing those ideas about like what you feel is not working. Okay, that will really help everyone. And like, if you're in the right environments, be able to reflect that energy of what we need to fix, or like, you know, who is bringing the energy down. All right, so that's pretty much in a nutshell. I'm not gonna like ramble on too much. I feel like I've pretty much explained it very well. But the main thing is, like, do your unconditioning, your deconditioning, whatever you want to call it, so that you can fully embrace that spontaneous energy, that you know, very go with the flow, fluid identity energy, so that people like who are trying to learn human design, and even yourselves, can understand fully who a reflector is, and you not seeming so ostracized from the rest of the types. And there's going to be more information on you because you guys are doing that deconditioning, and then you can tell your stories, and then we can observe, and I can understand better, because I definitely understand from a place of I had to do my own research, and like I had to actually ask reflectors, which I love to do anyway, but it will just make it easier once you guys can really understand where you've been conditioned, so you can just be yourselves, and we can study that and follow that, and it'll just make it easier to normalize you. Okay, so thank you guys for watching Reflector Types. I hope that this video resonated. Let me know in the comments what you resonated with, what you liked, and what you got from it. Okay, I'm at Tarot by Bronx on everything.